have another exciting video for you all today, and that is because we just got our first 2026 Forester Wilderness on the lot. These are just now arriving at Subaru retailers, so if you want to check one out, go to your local retailer. If you live near Louisville, Kentucky, if you want to visit me here at Bachman Subaru, feel free to reach out to me in the contact information in the description below. I'd love the opportunity to help you, tell you all about this new car, or even set up a test drive if you want to check one out for yourself. If you're new here, my name is Alex. I make weekly videos on Subaru content. If you want to follow along, consider clicking that subscribe button down below. And with that out of the way, let's jump into today's video. Here's our first look at the 2026 Subaru Forester Wilderness. And right on the left, we have a 2025 Forester Wilderness. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you all the new updates for the 2026, some of the cool features they've added this year for this model, and how it compares to last year's 2025, which, as many people know, is based on the previous generation. If you're unfamiliar with Subaru's Wilderness trim line, they have this available in the Forester, the Crosstrek, and the Outback. And basically what Subaru does is they take their regular model, in this case the Forester, and they make it more off-road capable while also keeping Subaru's comfort, ride quality, and safety that people expect. And starting out, one of the first things they do to add more off-road capabilities is by increasing the ground clearance. So for your standard Subaru SUVs, you have 8.7 inches of ground clearance. With the Wilderness, they increased this. On the 2025 model, it had 9.2 inches of ground clearance. And then on the 2026 model, it's almost the same. They have now 9.3 inches of ground clearance on the 2026 Forester Wilderness. Subaru also increases the approach departure angle, the breakover angle, and they add an aluminum skid plate up front to help with added protection if you are going over some rocky terrain. The Wilderness features standard matte black 17-inch alloy wheels. They've got a new design for 2026, as you see here, to give it more of an industrial and rugged look. If you compare it to 2025, here is what the matte black 17-inch alloy wheels look like. And those wheels are fitted with Yokohama's Geolandar all-terrain tire. On the 2026, they are a little bit wider. They have a 235/60/17 versus the 225/60/17 that you see on the 2025 model. And that wider tire is intended to provide more grip and stability in off-road situations. Both the 2025 and the 2026 Forester Wilderness have a full-size 17-inch spare wheel. The 2025 has this matte black painted wheel with the exact same 225 Yokohama tire, whereas the 2026 has the same wheel, but it is not painted black. It's got this aluminum brush finish look, and it has a 225 tire, probably so they could still fit it underneath the cargo area without taking away from any of the other storage space. For both the 2025 and the 2026 Forester Wilderness, we have the 2.5-liter naturally aspirated boxer 4-cylinder engine. However, this has been revised slightly. Now, we don't have a turbo option in the Forester Wilderness. If you want the turbo, jump over to the Outback Wilderness where that turbo engine comes standard. For 2025, we had 182 horsepower, 176 pound-feet of torque. And now for the 2026 Forester Wilderness, we have 180 horsepower, 178 pound-feet of torque. So a little bit more torque than the previous generation. And you do have, on all of the Wilderness trim, you have a lower final drive ratio. So that gives you more torque at lower speeds. So think in examples when maybe you are on a steep hill, a steep incline. Whenever you give it gas, you want that power, you want that torque more instantaneously compared to the regular Subaru Foresters. And of course, we have Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive standard on both these vehicles, but you have dual function X mode standard on both of these vehicles. And this gives you more traction and capabilities in snowy situations where you may lose traction. If you want to see a full in-depth video where I talk about X mode, how it works, and show how it works in my own Subaru, click on the YouTube card above to the right. And thanks to an updated transmission cooler in the 2026 Forester Wilderness, you now have 3,500 pounds of maximum tow capacity compared to the 2025 Forester Wilderness that had just 3,000 pounds of maximum tow capacity. So now the Forester Wilderness in 2026 shares the same maximum towing capacity that we see in both the Outback Wilderness and our Crosstrek Wilderness. This next one, you probably wouldn't notice the difference until actually having owned your Subaru for a while. And that is going to be with the keyless entry system. So for many years now, Subaru has these style key fobs where you can simply keep them in your pocket. You don't have to get them out. You can pull on the handle to unlock the car. And then to close it, you just tap your finger on the little groove right there. That locks the doors whenever you leave without having to get your keys out. It's incredibly convenient. Now, the issue with this design right here is that if you go to pull on the handle with your thumb like this, which a lot of people do, you may inadvertently lock or unlock the car unintentionally. And so Subaru has addressed this with the redesign in the 2026 Forester Wilderness. If you look, you'll notice the grooves aren't right there. So that way, if you are grabbing the handle like that with your thumb as leverage, it's not messing with locking or unlocking. Instead, it just simply unlocks the door. And then if you want to lock it, you just tap right here to lock it. Also, if you weren't aware, you can also tap the bottom to lock it. So a small design change, but something that I think is a great addition to this 26 Forester Wilderness. Both the 2025 and the 2026 Forester Wilderness have full LED headlights and fog lights. The headlights are steering responsive to provide great visibility for nighttime driving and out on the trails, but you do have a redesign on the front end. As you can see with the 2026, the grille design is slightly different. You have the accent copper gold finish on the tow hook mounts, 2 up front, 2 in the rear, whereas on the 2025, you don't have the gold accents up front and you only have 1 tow hook mount up front and 1 in the rear. Both feature the signature matte black decal on the hood, although they are slightly different in design. The 2026 has a cutout in the center, whereas the 2025 is simply cut straight. Now, if you weren't aware, the point of these matte black decals are not just styling, although that might be for some people, they just like the styling. It actually has a functional purpose. These matte black decals are to help prevent the driver from getting blinded whenever you are driving up a steep incline on a sunny day. Because if you're driving on a steep incline, the hood is typically up in your face. You've got the sun coming down, glaring off that gloss painted hood. And instead, that's why they do this matte black finish on the decal. So while it does look sporty and cool, it is also there for a functional reason. The rear of the 26 Wilderness has also been completely redesigned. A couple of things that I noticed right out of the gate is that the rear bumper goes all the way up, the cladding goes all the way up to the rear taillight. This, I think, can be an advantage for those who are off-roading because if you have less painted material, you have less risk of that getting scratched. That cladding also extends out all the way across the top part of the bumper, which is really nice if you are pulling luggage in and out of the back hatch. You don't have to worry about that scratching the top of your bumper. Now, when you compare that to the 2025 Wilderness, you can see what I'm talking about. The paint goes all the way up to the rear taillights, and this one does have the painted front bumper on top, but you'll see it has this piece of black cladding on top. That's a rear bumper cover to help prevent that painted material from getting scratched. And so with the 2026, the rear bumper cover probably isn't even necessary because of the cladding on the Wilderness. And just like we saw in the 2026 Subaru Outback, this 26 Forester Wilderness also has the embossed Subaru spelled out in the rear bumper. I think that's a nice design element that really just makes the rear hatch pop. The 2026 Wilderness still features Subaru StarTex interior. This is a synthetic upholstery, looks and feels like leather. It's also water repellent, so it's great for outdoor use, pets, you name it. It's easy to keep clean. I actually have this in my Subaru Outback Onyx, and I've had my Outback for over 3 years, and so I've tested it in many different situations. Easy to keep clean. The headrests have been redesigned, so they are now static. They don't adjust forward like they did in the 2025. I quite frankly never understood why they adjusted forward in the 2025, because as you can see, this looks like it would be uncomfortable, but the upholstery is the same, it's just been redesigned. The seat shape has also been redesigned for comfort. So definitely check these seats out because they are incredibly comfortable compared to the 2025 Forester Wilderness. For the 2025 Wilderness, you still had to have your USB cable connected to your phone in order to use the mirroring, the CarPlay or Android Auto up on the display. Whereas now with 2026 Forester Wilderness, we finally have the updated screen. So not only do we have a larger touchscreen going from 8 inches horizontally to now 11.6 inches vertically, but we also have wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, meaning you can say goodbye to those pesky cables and you don't even have to have your phone out whenever you get in your car. It will automatically connect once you've connected it. Each day you hop in your car, so you can use that to navigate, use things like hands-free phone call, text, and your audio and music. Subaru also revised the charging ports, so no longer do you have just 2 USB ports. You now have USB-A, USB-C as other alternatives for charging quicker. Not to mention, you now have more storage space in the center console area to fit larger phones, and you have a standard Qi wireless charging pad with an on-off switch, so you can power it on and off if you don't want to use it. Now for the 2026 Forester Wilderness, we have the rain sensing wipers. This was previously only available on the Limited and the Touring trim for the Forester. This isn't standard, but optional through the Wilderness Optional Package 33, a digital gauge cluster. So instead of this being an analog gauge cluster, you have a digital screen for that full display, and you can switch the menu here to kind of configure this to your own personal preferences with this button here. So you just click and hold that button, and it will switch over to map view, your eyesight view, or regular. So this is really cool, I think, for our modern Subarus. We just saw it introduced in the Forester Hybrid and the 2026 Subaru Outback, and now it's going to be available on the 2026 Forester Wilderness trim. One of the things I really like about having this digital gauge cluster is that instead of having to have your maps just over here on the right side of your display in the center console area, instead you can have it front and center, provide some better visibility, and makes it easier so you don't have to look over or glance over to see what direction you need to be going. And you can have your nav up and have other applications running over here instead. Another small design change that you might not notice right away is with the direction of your cup holders. So now they are vertical instead of horizontal. It makes it easier to get your bottles in, and while the front is a smaller opening, the rear does accommodate my 32-ounce Yeti water bottle. And when you compare that to the 2025 Forester Wilderness, as you can see, the cup holders are positioned horizontal, and it doesn't quite fit my 32-ounce water bottle, at least not without taking this piece out. And even then, it's still very tight. For the 2025 Forester Wilderness, there are 2 ways you can drop the rear seats. One is by pulling up on this lever, and the second is by using the quick release lever back here. And for 2026, Subaru has updated this design. Instead, you have a strap to release the back. You also have the option to drop the seats with the quick release lever back here. But what they've changed, and this makes it easier to lift the seat up, they've changed it with the strap. So now you can just simply pull the seats up instead of having to muscle it up from the bottom. So with the 2025, you don't have the strap, and instead you have to pull from the bottom to push the seat up. It's just a small design change to make it a little bit easier to pull that seat up. The 2026 Forester Wilderness has a starting MSRP before destination and delivery of $38,385. Now you also have the optional package 33 that is available for the Forester Wilderness. Most of this remains the same as the 2025. You have the onboard TomTom navigation that comes with that package, the upgraded audio system, and your power rear gate. But one thing that is added for this new 26 model year is the full LCD digital gauge cluster display. Both the 2025 and the 26 Forester Wilderness have a front view monitor. Here's what it looks like on the 2025 in the top display on that small screen. And then here's what it looks like on the 2026 in the larger touchscreen display. As far as I know, the backup camera has not been updated, but just to show you all what it looks like on the 2026 Forester Wilderness, this is what the backup camera looks like on the larger touchscreen display. And here's what it looks like in the 2025 Forester Wilderness. So looks to be about the same camera quality, but it is just on the smaller 8-inch display instead. So as you can see, there's a lot of exciting things for this new 2026 Forester Wilderness as compared to just last year's model. I hope you all enjoyed this video and found value in it. If you did, please remember to click the like button before you go. That helps me out a lot and I'd really appreciate it. And as always, if you have any questions, reach out to me down below in the comments. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.